Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's the Theban Gamer here with an Enlisted review. So this is a game that I discovered pretty recently. I'm here to give it a review, give it the good praise it deserves, and just bring more awareness to the community about Enlisted. So background with Enlisted. Enlisted is basically a World War II shooter that is free to play. It's a little strange that it's free to play since many World War II shooters aren't really free to play, but you know, that's kind of cool that you can really try it out, experience it without really paying much. As a World War II shooter, it competes directly with like games like Battlefield 5, Call of Duty World War II, and even for a free to play game, it's really surprising what they've done here. They've really made it competitive in terms of the graphics, the gameplay, sound design, and a lot of those other things. So for a free-to-play title, I think this game's going to stack up pretty well. So let's get into the gameplay. The gameplay of Enlisted, I gotta say, is almost perfect. I love how they have recreated the World War II atmosphere, right? I love how basically the damage model is pretty balanced in the fact that you can't really take a lot of hits. It's one shot from a bolt-action sniper will pretty much kill you. As for the submachine guns, you can take about 2 to 3 shots depending on how far away you are, but those will pretty much put you down. So they've really tailored that fine line between extreme hardcore gameplay, right, where there's basically no real arcadey elements at all, and they've tailored that line between the arcadey gameplay like from Call of Duty World War II, where people are going to be taking multiple shots. Snipers are only a headshot kill. They've really found the best medium, in my opinion, so that the game, to make the game optimal in terms of playing it. So I really like the gunplay. I think that damage modeling is just right. The recoil is not really too high, to be honest, but it's there and it's a good amount of recoil, so that's pretty nice. The movement's pretty good as well. In tanks, there is a difference in movement. For tanks, you really have to be good at it because tanks are pretty slow in movement. You have limited visibility, and it kind of balances out the tanks pretty well, where if you're good at using a tank and use it in its traditional role, you're going to do very well. If you're trying to run and gun with a tank, you're going to get blown up by somebody. So the gameplay, again, I can't really speak more highly of it. I think it's great, and I think it definitely keeps me coming back for more. As far as the graphics, whoa, that's really a surprise in my opinion. As you guys can see, like, the graphics are amazing. They're maybe not as great as Battlefield 5, but they're definitely better than Call of Duty World War II. The lighting is great. Just the way the textures look pretty good. Maybe not necessarily the best, but they look pretty good. The shadows and everything look good. The detail that they put into the game looks great. So you see these burnt out trees, and you see how, for example, in the Berlin map, the one we're playing on, you can see how basically the city's destroyed and how it looks after a massive battle. The graphics are really outstanding, and especially for a free-to-play title, it's really crazy what you get here in terms of the graphics. Many free-to-play titles scale down the graphics or just don't even put in the work to make the graphics good, but this game really has done has done itself right by basically creating great graphics. So the graphics are pretty good. Now moving on to the sound design. The sound design is pretty good as well. I would say that it's not as good as the graphics in terms of competitiveness. The guns sound meaty, they sound good, but there's just certain things that maybe aren't top tier in terms of the sound design. So in Battlefield 5, for example, if you play it, you'll see how the guns have a very authentic sound. Depending on if you're indoors or outdoors, they sound a little bit different. Things like that. Where here, that's not really the case. So you don't really have that kind of in-depth sound design. The soundtrack for the game itself is pretty good, but again, it's not Battlefield 5 level soundtrack. So the sound, I would say, is good, but not the best. But it's definitely good to hear. It keeps you immersed in the environment. It keeps you on your toes, right? So you can hear footsteps. You can hear nearby gunshots. You can kind of triangulate, hey, where are they coming from? Overall, the sound design is pretty good. So if we were to tally up our scores for different categories, for gameplay, I'd give this game a 9 out of 10. It's really excellent in terms of gameplay. There are a little bit of tweaks they can do maybe for balance here and there, but other than that, it's really great for gameplay. It's refreshing. the way they set it up, the way you can, you know, manage your squad in a multiplayer battle, and the way that it's, even though it's not perfectly balanced, it's pretty well balanced. So gameplay's a 9. Graphics, I would give an 8 out of 10. I think that even though they're not the top tier graphics for a free-to-play title, it's kind of ridiculous what you get. The game looks great, and it definitely immerses you in the environment. For sound design, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Now for the sound design, you know, again, it's good, but not the best, right? So it keeps you immersed, just like the graphics, but it's not the best, and in some categories, it's just not the top tier sound design. So the final score of this game. This game, for me, is a solid 8 out of 10. This game, in my opinion, is the best World War II shooter out there. It's better than Battlefield 5 for sure. I've had much more fun in this game than Battlefield 5. It straddles that fine line between, you know, being an arcade shooter and then being a, you know, straight up hardcore Red Orchestra 2 World War II shooter. It's in my opinion, even though it's free to play, and you know they do have that free to play progression system where it takes you longer to advance, it's still just so fun for me to play. You know, you get to manage your own AI squad. That's a different mechanic as well. You get great gunplay. Bolt action rifles actually mean something, which in World War II, bolt action rifles were the predominant weapon still. So in this game, it's good to see that they actually take it to the forefront. You know, most of the weapons are lethal, right? So, you know, SMGs, even pistols, if used correctly, can be lethal. So, you know, I love the gameplay. I think it's the best World War II shooter period out there. And it's definitely a game I'd recommend to anybody who enjoys FPSs, anybody who enjoys World War II shooters. Take a look at Enlisted. It's a game that will surprise you, and I think that it's definitely worth playing. So this has been the Theban Gamer coming at you with another review. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.